Ever feel like your WordPress site is moving in slow motion? Switch to Kinsta's managed hosting for WordPress and watch it fly. Host your site on Google Cloud's fastest servers with worldwide data centers so your pages load instantly. Need help? WordPress experts respond in under 2 minutes and will migrate to your site for free. Try it yourself. First month free at kinsta.com. That's KINSTA.com. Kinsta. Simply better hosting.
If you're a lineman in charge of keeping the lights on, Grainger understands that you go to great lengths and sometimes heights to ensure the power is always flowing, which is why you can count on Grainger for professional-grade products and next-day delivery, so you have everything you need to get the job done. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome to the Dogs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Dogs Podcast presented by Manly Band's Josh All, your host today on this quick microcast. Just want to come to you guys and let you know who made the Browns' initial 53-man roster. Now, when we say initial 53-man roster, that's because this thing is going to change constantly from here on out through the rest of the season. By the time you're watching this, or by the time I get this edited and posted out to you guys, the roster may already look a little different than what it does right now. But I think it's important. We talk all summer about who's going to make the cut at that first initial 53-man roster listing, and now we have the answer. So I want to go through that and talk about some of the people that I think could still be moved, could still be waived, maybe put through waivers onto the practice squad to make room for additional players, and at what positions we're going to need those players. Before I go through that, reminder, like the video on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, tap the notification bell, and head over to jointhedogs.com to become an official Dog Pack member on the Patreon page. Jump into the private Discord. Get in there for football season. You want to be in the Discord chatting with everybody else in the Dog Pack, all these other diehard Browns fans every Sunday when the Browns take the field. That's the place to be. We're in there if you want to talk to us during games, get our live reactions and feedback on what's going on in the games. It's a ton of fun. So jointhedogs.com. So before we go into who made the roster, let's talk about some of these other players that the Browns listed beforehand. So a player who passed his physical and is going to be ready to play here at some point soon is defensive tackle Mike Hall Jr. So that's really good, coming off the knee surgery that he had over the offseason. Placed on injured reserve was linebacker Winston Reed. Has a back injury, but he is designated for return. He will miss at least the first 4 weeks. Okay. Placed on the PUP, physically unable to perform list. Obviously, it's quarterback Deshaun Watson. We can talk about whether or not he'll be activated to the active roster later in the season, and if he'll even play for the Browns. We can talk about all that another day, not today. Placed on reserve non-football injury list. The NFI list was wide receiver David Bell, coming off of the surgery for his hip injury last year. I don't see him ever being part of the Browns active roster probably ever again. I don't know what they're doing with David Bell. The dude has contributed nothing to the team essentially over the last 3 years, and this is the final year of his rookie contract, so I think this will be it for him. So terminated contracts. I want to spend just a few minutes right here. So let's start with the ones that really don't, and I know I apologize to these guys, but really don't matter. Running back Travion Williams, doesn't matter. Julian Okwara, the defensive end, I kind of thought maybe he had a shot, but we are so deep. There's so many defensive linemen on this roster that Okwara was just the odd man out. I don't know. Some of these guys will probably get through waivers and come back onto the practice squad, so we'll keep an eye on some of these guys. Defensive tackle Sam Kamara, also contract terminated. Wide receiver Deontay Johnson. This was the big one of the big ones, I should say. And we talked about it all offseason, all summer. Will Deontay Johnson be able to get past his whatever issues are going on? And, they have the turmoil that his issues caused him last year were insane. He bounced around from so many teams, cut by so many teams. Nobody wanted him. The Browns were the only team that reached out to him this year, and they brought him in for the vet minimum contract, brought him in for training camp, all this stuff over the summer. And, you know, it's funny because you kind of look back, you can do the hindsight 2020 thing. But if you remember back in, what was it, June, right? We've got the voluntary OTAs. And a lot of veterans skip those, which is fine. You know, we have that whole debate every year at around that time. Should the veterans be there? Should they not? Deontay Johnson had no suitors. Nobody wanted him except for the Browns. Nobody was even interested. He signed for the vet minimum contract, like I mentioned. And yet he still skipped the OTAs, which at the time was one of those, is that a warning sign? Like, is this guy still not fully committed to this whole football thing? Or is it just like, who cares? He's a vet, whatever. For his situation, I think it might have been a warning sign that this guy is not fully committed to reviving his career, because if he was, maybe things have gone a little bit differently for Deontay Johnson, because the talent is still very much there. He is still a very good wide receiver, but mentally, I just don't think football is for him anymore. And, you know, he struggled with drops throughout the preseason, spent a lot of time with the second team, third team and stuff during training camp and things like that. So the writing was sort of on the wall for Deontay Johnson, but he was a guy we were hoping would be able to step up and help fill a void in that wide receiver room that we desperately need. And unfortunately, he was not. Okay, the other big one, the other big terminated contract, kicker, Dustin Hopkins. We've talked about this so much. The Browns release Dustin Hopkins, and they needed to. They absolutely needed to cut bait, cut ties, get rid of this guy. And, you know, he was such a great kicker. He was a revelation for that position, a position that the Browns need, it seems like, every year. We are always looking for a quarterback and a kicker. The two most crucial players, positions to, you know, accumulate points or help your team score points are the quarterback and the kicker. And we always seem to need those two positions. Dustin Hopkins in 2023 was like one of the best kickers in the NFL, got himself a major contract extension in kicker terms with the Browns after that season. But if you remember, with like 2 or 3 games left to go in the season, we were down in Houston playing the Texans, and he tried to make a tackle on a kickoff return. Damian Pierce for the Texans was breaking down on a kickoff return and got past everybody. Dustin Hopkins rushing over, trying to make the tackle, pulled his hamstring, serious hamstring injury, missed the rest of the season, and has never been the same since. Last year, he was the worst kicker in the NFL. He missed 9 field goal attempts, missed 3 PATs. His 66.7 field goal percentage, like I said, lowest in the NFL in 2024. And those struggles carried over into the preseason this year, and it was a major concern. He missed, I forget how many PATs throughout the preseason, almost missed a field goal. The guy is struggling. Backup kicker Andre Smith, who did make the active roster over Dustin Hopkins, came in, made all his kicks in the preseason, gave the Browns enough confidence in him to move on from Dustin Hopkins. Thank goodness we needed to do it. Nothing to get personal to Dustin Hopkins, but you know, when your one job is to go out there and kick field goals and you can't do that, you're going to get replaced. You have to. This team cannot afford to be missing extra points, to be missing field goals when we need to get points on the board to stay competitive with teams that we're going to be facing this year. So, interesting about Andre Smith, Kevin Stefanski was asked about Smith making the final roster here as the Browns kicker heading into the season, and they said, you know, hey, Kevin, Andre Smith has not made or even attempted a kick in a regular season NFL game yet in his career. How do you feel about him? Or, all your confidence level, all this stuff. And Kevin said Kevin things and said, until you've done something, you've never done something. And what we've seen from Andre throughout the summer, we have confidence in him. We feel good about Andre moving forward as the kicker of our football team. So that is the situation with the kicker, at least as of now. Obviously, like I said at the beginning, the roster is a constant churn. So we will see what happens. But hopefully Andre Smith can come in and be the consistent, reliable kicker we need, because it sure as hell was not Dustin Hopkins. This episode is sponsored by Manly Bands. Browns fans, it is time to upgrade your ring game. Head over to manlybands.com/dogs and check out everything Manly Bands has to offer. Some of the coolest bands materials that you're going to find. I love going through and looking at everything in their Jack Daniel's whiskey barrel collection. I mean, you can get a wedding ring made from a Jack Daniel's whiskey barrel. That's awesome. They've got the Lord of the Rings collection. They've got DC Comics, and they've also got the other materials too. Gold, white gold, that kind of stuff. They've got meteorite. They've got dinosaur bone. They've got all kinds of stuff. And they have a ton of other gifts as well. They've got barware. They've got chains. They've got wristwatch. They've got all kinds of stuff. Anything you need if you're looking for manly rings and manly things, head to manlybands.com/dogs and make sure to use promo code CAMP25, CAMP25, to get an extra $25 off your order. That's manlybands.com/dogs, promo code CAMP25. This episode is sponsored by Omaha Steaks. Browns fans, Labor Day weekend is finally here, and you know what that means. It's time to get out there, fire up the grill, and have an amazing cookout with your friends and family. But an amazing cookout is only amazing with Omaha Steaks. And right now, during the Labor Day sale, you can get 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $35 off with promo code BARK, B-A-R-K, at checkout. You guys know I've got everything lined up for Labor Day. I've got the steaks, the smash burgers, the brats. We're ready to go. Make sure you guys get your orders in now so you're ready as well. Because there's really nothing like a Labor Day cookout to end the summer with a sizzle. Right now, it's the perfect time to stock up and celebrate with the exceptional handcrafted flavor and convenience of Omaha Steaks. Get fired up for fall grilling with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during their Labor Day sale, and for an extra $35 off, use promo code BARK at checkout. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $35 off with promo code BARK at checkout. See site for details. Okay. Then we go on to waived players. We've got wide receiver Chase Cota, wide receiver Caden Davis, who they expect to come back onto the practice squad, safety Christopher Edmonds, cornerback Lamarian James. I would imagine James and Edmonds both come back to the practice squad. Wide receiver Keyshawn Johnson, running back Amani Marshall, wide receiver Cade McDonald was an injury designation, running back Pierre Strong Jr. waived injury designation. He's got the concussion, so we'll see. He'll probably end up back on the practice squad. And then tackle Killian Zieri. I have never even heard of this guy, so I don't know. Then the Browns made a trade the other day. They traded a 2028 7th round pick to the Rams for tackle KT Leviston, who the Browns watched on Saturday in that preseason game, and he was great against the insane pressure and everything that our defensive front was bringing that whole game. Leviston started at left tackle for the Rams against the Browns, played the whole game. I think it was something like 57 total snaps, gave up one pressure the whole game. 6'4", 335, entering his second NFL season, played at Kansas State. He was a 7th round pick by the Rams last year, and then he looks like he missed all of last season with an ankle injury. So KT Leviston, spoiler, is on the initial 53-man roster after the Browns traded for him. So that's a good depth piece that they added yesterday. All right, so we'll just go into this position by position, run through it quick, a couple comments here and there, and then I'm going to get out of here, let you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Quarterbacks, Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. Obviously, Kenny Pickett the other night traded to the Raiders after the wrist injury for backup quarterback Aiden O'Connell was going to miss quite a bit of time this season, so they need a backup, so they trade for another injured quarterback. Hey, Andrew Berry, if you can trade a 5th round pick to get a healthy Kenny Pickett and then trade an injured Kenny Pickett to get a 5th round pick back, that's the kind of move that makes me go, Andrew Berry's pretty good at his job. Sometimes. There's other things that he doesn't do quite as well, but some of these moves are pretty nice. Kevin Stefanski did come out and verify, obviously, we already knew that Dylan Gabriel was going to be the backup quarterback, but Kevin Stefanski came out and made it official. Dylan Gabriel will be the backup quarterback behind Joe Flacco. Again, anticipate and expect Shedeur Sanders will be a healthy, inactive every week at least to start the season, but he will be obviously the emergency quarterback. Running backs, just 2, Jerome Ford and Dylan Sampson. Now, this is an area that they've already come out, Kevin's already come out and said, we are not going into the season with just 2 running backs on the roster. So some of these positions are going to look different because they're going to add another running back to this roster, and it's either going to be Quinshon Judkins, is close to signing, so they're waiting to get that done, and then he'll be added to the active roster. Or they're going to claim somebody off of waivers like an Audric Estime, who was waived by the Broncos the other day. So, or it could be like a Damian Martinez, the rookie running back, 7th-round pick for the Seattle Seahawks that they cut. There's going to be another running back added to this active roster ahead of week 1, so stay alert for that. Wide receivers, they kept 6. It is Jerry Jeudy. It is Cedric Tillman, Jamari Thrash, DeAndre Carter, the kick return, punt returner, Gage Larvidan, and Isaiah Bond. So shout out, congratulations to Gage Larvidan. UDFA coming in, busting his tail all summer, making the initial 53-man roster heading into the season. Good for him. He showed out. Tight ends, we kept 4. This one surprised me because I feel like this is an area where they're going to cut one of these guys, try to slip them back through waivers onto the practice squad after they add, or in order to add the next running back to the roster. But initial 53, it's David Njoku, Harold Fannin Jr., Blake Whiteheart, and Brendan Bates. Like I said, one of those guys I would imagine not going to be here on the active roster, maybe even by the end of this week. 10 offensive linemen. This one I feel like is pretty set, at least to start the season. So you've got your Joel Bitonio, Jack Conklin, Tevin Jenkins, DeJuan Jones, KT Leviston, like I mentioned, Cornelius Lucas, Ethan Posick, Wyatt Teller, Luke Whippler, and Zach Zinter. Again, Posick status questionable for week 1. Could see Luke Whippler step in and get his first NFL start. Second NFL start. He did start the Bengals game in 2023 at the end of the season, week 18, and played pretty well. So I'm excited for the future of Luke Whippler. Defensive linemen, 10 on this side as well. We kept, obviously, Myles Garrett. And then it's Malik Collins, Mason Graham, Mike Hall Jr., Shelby Harris, Isaiah McGuire, Cameron Thomas, who did make the roster. Congrats, Cameron Thomas. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, Alex Wright, and, of course, Aiden Huntington, everybody's favorite dude. He is a freaking dog, this UDFA out of, I want to say, is it Tulane? Aiden Huntington is Tulane? Yes, it's Tulane. I had to check. I thought so. Defensive lineman, fullback, kickoff gunner, like Aiden Huntington is going to be all over the field for the Browns. He's going to be a fun one to watch.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams Labor Day sale and get 35% off paints and stains August 22nd through September 4th. With prices starting at $31.84, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your interior or exterior, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store or shop the sale online. Delivery available on qualifying orders. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Linebackers, we kept 5. We've got Carson Swessinger, of course, Jerome Baker, Devin Bush, Mohamed Diabate, and Easton Mascarenas Arnold. Again, this is another UDFA that I honestly didn't even hear anything about during this summer and preseason and everything, but Easton Mascarenas Arnold, UDFA, made this initial 53-man roster for the Browns at the linebacker position. Defensive backs, 10 of these guys as well. It's Grant Delpit, Miles Harden, Ronnie Hickman, Rayshawn Jenkins, Dom Jones, DeMonte Kazi, Donovan McMillan, Cameron Mitchell, Greg Newsome, and Denzel Ward. If you split defensive backs between safety and corner, it's like 5 and 5. You've got 5 corners and Denzel, Greg Newsome, Cameron Mitchell, Dom Jones, and Miles Harden, and then your 5 safeties are Grant Delpit, Ronnie Hickman, Rayshawn Jenkins, DeMonte Kazi, and another UDFA, Donovan McMillan. So congrats to all these UDFAs making the initial 53-man roster for the Browns, and it just does go back to Andrew Berry has a knack for finding UDFA talent after the draft is over. I mean, you've got rollover guys like Mohamed Diabate, Winston Reed, who's on the IR but still on the roster from last year, were UDFAs, undrafted free agents. You got Ronnie Hickman from a few years ago, is now probably like your starting free safety on this team. Dom Jones is a UDFA. Donovan McMillan is a UDFA. I already mentioned back at linebackers, Easton Mascarenas Arnold is a UDFA this year. Obviously, Aiden Huntington is a UDFA this year. You've got Gage Larvidan. These guys have done a great job, and it is one area that I'm very impressed with this Browns front office and scouting department, everybody able to really find some hidden gems in that UDFA market every season. And then finally, your 3 specialists: kicker Andre Smith, I already talked about him; punter and probably team MVP, like always, Corey Bajorquez; and long snapper Rex Sunahara. So there you go, guys. There's your initial 53-man roster for the Cleveland Browns. Talked about the guys that were cut, waived, contracts terminated, guys placed on injury lists, all that good stuff. Let me know in the comments which moves surprised you. Was it the trade for KT Leviston? I mean, that's a great pickup for the Browns late in the process here, getting ready for the season. Were you finally relieved that they just cut bait with Dustin Hopkins, or were you holding out hope? Maybe there were people out there still saying we need him. Maybe he can turn it around. I don't know. I wasn't one of those people, but let me know if you were. Drop it in the comments. We'll respond as much as we can. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back probably later this week at some point to give you any updates the Browns do. And then obviously we'll be heading into next week, getting ready for our first game preview of the season when the Browns take on the Bengals at home next Sunday. Holy crap, football season is here, guys. It's going to be awesome. Stay tuned to everything, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dogs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dogs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedogspodcast.com.
This episode is sponsored by Butcher Box for Pets. Browns fans, we love our fellow dogs, our Dog Pack members, and the Dog Pound faithful, but let's not kid ourselves. The most important dogs in our lives are, well, our dogs. Your furry friends aren't just pets, they're part of the family. But the question is, what are you actually feeding them? Head to butcherbox4pets.com/products to see all the options for your dogs, including fresh and dry foods, treats, meal toppers, and even toys for your dog. If you're not sure what your dog will like best, try the Premium Nutrition Adult Starter Pack, and they even have a vacation bundle to take care of your four-legged friends while you're on vacation this summer. And right now you can get 20% off your order with promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, when you check out. At ButcherBox, they believe in real ingredients. Their pet foods have been developed and certified by vet nutritionists to contain zero artificial flavors or preservatives. You get protein-packed formula with over 50% of the recipe comprised of third-party certified humane ButcherBox meat, plus functional ingredients like pre- and postbiotics to support your dog's vitality and digestion. I know that sounds like a lot, but the bottom line is your dogs are getting the nutrition and the value they need, and honestly, that they deserve. I know our home wouldn't be the same without Odie, our 100-pound golden retriever who thinks he's a 10-pound lap dog. He is not, but it gives us peace of mind knowing that we're giving him quality food instead of just that factory processed garbage from the store. And speaking of the store, no need to go. ButcherBox for Pets delivers their high-quality food right to your door. So head to butcherboxforpets.com/products and use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, for 20% off your order. It's time for us dogs to give our dogs the nutrition they deserve.